Hello and welcome to the Fit News Podcast. I am your host, Jen Shaver, and joining me today is Kristen Herlihy. She is a psychotherapist, health coach, fitness fanatic, and gluten-free mom of two. After 25 years working as a clinical social worker and as a psychotherapist, she began to realize how much we as women were missing out on when it came to our wellness. Kristen would see client after client trying to improve her mindset while eating junk food to comfort herself or doing soul-crushing workouts, but still not liking what she saw in the mirror, and then couldn't even figure out what was missing. What was missing was not about judgment or seeing yourself as broken. What was missing was the insight, analysis, and habit formation offered through psychology. And that is where Kristen comes in. She will help you feel good in your body and your mind, again, through one healthy, integrated change at a time. Kristen, thank you for taking the time to join me today.
What a fantastic introduction. My goodness. I'm really happy to hear all of those wonderful things. And again, there's a lot about, what I do,
Mhm.
but this is more about who I am and what I believe in. It's something that I'm very passionate about. So I'm very excited to share a little bit about what I do, how I work with my clients, and just really how we're able to, we all know different changes that we could or should be doing, but how do we
Yeah.
integrate that into our already full lifestyles? It's something that I'm really passionate about and really looking forward to sharing today.
Yeah. And I know that, well, goodness, we could probably go on for 6 hours because we both, service the same type of clients, right? So we do have a lot to chat about, but let's get started first with how you went from that clinical social worker and psychotherapist to doing what you're doing now and working with women.
It's definitely been a journey. And when I worked as a clinical social worker, I was working in people's homes and just
Mhm.
trying to see how I could improve their lives. I was at that time working a lot with parents and children and the families. And, it was one of those, if you ever go to a carnival, you ever play that game Whack-A-Mole,
Oh,
where
yeah.
like that thing pops up and you got to take that hammer and pop it down, but then something else pops up and you got to go over there and then you keep doing it. It's a game that you can never win. And it was something that I really saw with a lot of my clients at that time because, we might solve one issue
Mhm.
and, hammer that one down and then another one would pop up. And I just really felt like there's something missing here. There has to be a more holistic piece. And I really feel like when we take a holistic approach, when we look at psychology, how
Right.
we think, nutrition,
Mhm.
how we feel, and fitness, how we move, that rising tide will raise all ships. For example, if you have a healthy mindset, but you're eating terribly and not moving your body, where are you getting with that? Is that really truly overall health?
Mhm.
So, as I had children of my own, my practice switched to do more mental health work, and I did psychotherapy.
Mhm.
And a lot of what I noticed there is that, people were doing a lot of cyclical behaviors that were not getting them out of that rut that they were in. For example, they were feeling depressed,
Mhm.
not feeling very motivated, so they would eat a particular kind of food. Fill in the blank with whatever you want.
Right.
And then after they eat that food, it would give them the sugar rush, make them feel a little bit better, but then they'd sugar crash back down, feel depressed again, feel
Yeah.
sad about not being able to step up and get into their lives. So they would eat the same junk food again, and the cycle would continue. So I began working with my clients at that time to, really on their nutrition to say, hey, are there small ways that we can change your nutrition so it could change how your body feels physically?
Yeah.
And then focus on how we could change your emotions mentally. And, from there, that's where I really got into the health coaching, really, and getting fitness certifications to really focus on the movements of their body, the
Mhm.
fueling with food, because a lot of my clients at that time were using language like cheat, treat, reward when it came to food,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just really balancing out that mindset. So that is how I arrived to the programming that I do today that really
Mhm.
focuses on all three areas.
Yeah. And I really because, what you mentioned was it's how we think, how we eat, and how we move. And
Mhm.
really, they're all three connected and they all work in unison together because we know that how we move can affect how we feel, and what we
Mhm.
eat affects, how we feel again or think, right? So they really are all connected. And there's so many studies that are coming out now regarding exercise and mental health.
Mhm.
So
Ooh,
yeah,
there's
it's
Mother Nature joining us for this call today.
welcome, Mother Nature.
Yeah. And I can even give you an example because, I don't want to, speak from the pulpit as if I live a perfect life because,
Right, right.
just to give you an example, I had a workout in the morning earlier this week and it was
Mhm,
terrible. I had no energy. I felt uncoordinated. I just felt like, why did I get up? I could
mhm,
have just slept in but instead, now you could go down that path of, oh, I'm fill in the blank. I'm lazy. I'm too weak. I'm not coordinated enough to do this class. What's wrong with me? You
mhm.
could fill in with a lot of negativity,
Right.
but instead what I did was say, okay, why am I in this state? What is happening? And
Mhm.
I went back to what I ate the dinner before because this was an early morning workout.
Yeah.
And a lot of women do this. I wasn't really hungry. So I had cereal for dinner. Now, we all know that cereal for dinner is super easy. I was tired. I didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
So I had, that easy. A lot of women tell me about how they have cereal for dinner.
Right.
I didn't fuel properly. I didn't have the
Right.
right amount of protein.
Mhm.
I didn't have enough fuel in the system to do a proper workout. So rather than judge myself and use a lot of words that really just don't mean anything,
Right.
and are actually more damaging, I really thought, you know what? I didn't eat a good dinner. Let me go ahead and eat a better dinner. And I did that last night. So this morning's workout, I felt so much more energetic. I could feel when I was doing certain moves. It was a Pilates class. I felt stronger. I
Yeah.
felt like I'm going to challenge myself. Whereas 2 days previous, I was toast. I
Mhm.
couldn't do, I felt horrible during the whole workout. And I thought, why am I doing this? So again, I am the woman that I work with.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
that's something that, I think a lot of your listeners can relate to is that, I don't have that bikini body. I'm not going to post, this is what I eat in a day. It's
Right.
not about that. I'm not the
Right.
influencer. I'm a
Mhm.
real woman just like them.
Right.
I do have cereal for dinner and make mistakes like that too,
Mhm.
but
Right.
I know how to get that mindset back on and back on track.
Right, right. And I know that you and I probably see the same way in terms of the word diet. We see it as a
Yeah.
noun and not a verb, um, for many reasons.
Hmm.
But that's not how many women perceive that word.
Yeah.
When they hear the word diet, it's
Yeah, and you can't really blame them either
right.
because a lot of the women that I work with were in our 40s, 50s, and beyond.
Hmm.
And a lot of those women grew up in the calorie restriction, eat less, work out more
Yeah.
type equation. And that was
Hmm.
introduced to us, in the 70s and 80s. And
Hmm.
a lot of the foods that came out at that time were the same thing, low calorie, light, Lite. Remember the
Hmm.
another four-letter
Oh,
word, which is
yeah.
not actually a word. I love those. And we think about, why is it that we're giving less to our
Uh-huh.
body, but then asking it to do more? It doesn't make any kind of equation type sense. And it's really important that, for women, why would we want to restrict ourselves? Why
Hmm.
would we want to take more from ourselves? We already give everything
Hmm.
to our friends, our families, our work, our community. We should be the number one that we are fueling with healthy thoughts, with healthy foods, with good, important movement for our body. So when I hear that word diet, I come from a place of observation, not judgment, because you can
Right.
only change what you observe. You can't change
Hmm.
anything that you judge. So I
Right.
simply have that conversation with them. That's great. You're looking to diet. What would that mean?
Hmm.
What are you going to take out? If you're going to take something out, what are you going to replace it with? So again, it's a place of exploration because I don't want to judge women for using that word because if you look out there on social media and the way that we all grew up, why wouldn't she use that word?
Right. Right. Yeah, it's all over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Along with focusing solely on weight loss,
Yeah.
which
Truly.
is a detriment, I believe,
Yeah.
that's all that we're focused on.
But if you think about it, when you go to the doctor's office, any doctor's office, what do?
Yeah, first
Right
thing
when
they
you walk
do.
in, take off your coat and your purse and your shoes and stand on this scale.
Yeah.
What, that's the first thing that they do. They take your height and your weight. But are those the only true measurements? Like in the fall, I did a very clean eating program. I lost 10 pounds. And I was like, great, high five me.
Yeah.
I also lost 2% of my body's muscle mass because I use a smart scale that measures water density, bone density, and muscle density.
Yeah.
So yeah, the number on the scale put a smile on my face, but what am I actually doing when I'm losing muscle mass? So since that time, I've put weight back on.
Mm-hmm.
So the number is higher than, egads where I want it to be.
Right.
But at the same time, I gain that 2% muscle mass back so that my workouts are more quality. When, just the other day, someone had, those stand-up sandwich boards
Oh,
that people
yes.
put out for advertisements, and they're kind of like the
Yes.
triangular things. Someone had had one in her car and was going to give it to me. And she said, oh, it's really heavy. Let's ask one of the men to help us.
Oh,
I said, oh no, I don't need help. I said, look at this. I bring these everywhere I go. I don't need help. But
Right.
that extra 2% muscle mass gave me that confidence to say no. And I picked it up and I put it in my car. I didn't need to ask a guy for help. No, there's nothing wrong with asking for help when you need it. I didn't need it. And I didn't
Right.
want that to be the expectation.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing that we need to think about when we're talking about weight loss is some of that weight loss muscle loss. Because if it is, we're already losing muscle as we're aging.
Yep.
And we
And
don't
bone density too.
right. Right.
So important. It's a lot of my clients, especially after age 50 and beyond,
Yeah.
bone density is one of those conversations that you think you should be having with your mom or your grandma.
Yeah.
But trust and believe, if you're over 50 and you fall and you break an ankle, break a wrist, whatever, that recovery time is going to be so much more challenging, so much more frustrating for you. So you really have to think about, when we do strength training, that helps improve our bone density as well.
Yeah.
So not only are we getting strong in our muscles, we're getting stronger, healthier bones. And again, diet has a lot, what we're eating and fueling has a lot to go along with that.
Right.
But this is where, I don't want women to be afraid to have those conversations that they think, oh, that's something I have to worry about when I get older. In order to not worry about it when you get older, let's talk about it today. Let's not be afraid of it. Let's talk about it.
Right. Right. It's like saying I'm going to wait until I'm 65 to start my retirement account.
Yeah.
Right?
Same thing.
No,
Nobody wants to wait for that.
you got to start that early or there won't be anything there for you. I know you do a lot of work with mindset. Why don't we talk a little bit about some of the mindset shifts you help women to make?
Mindset is such an important part, and I think a lot of women have a certain preconceived notion that mindset means like, oh, I'm going to have to meditate. This lady's going to make me journal. You know what I mean? But which, those are helpful tools. But if you are locked into, I don't want to do that, then how does mindset go into the work that you do?
Yes.
And a lot of times we have that, what I call our internal conversation, that inner girlfriend who's always chatting with us and she'll say things about us. And I think to myself, if you were sitting across from a girlfriend in Starbucks and she were saying some of the things to you that you think in your own mind, OMG, like, wouldn't you push up, put your hands and push away from the table and say goodbye to her? The other day I was in the gym, just finished a fantastic fitness class with my group, high five everybody. Everyone felt great. And one of the women came to me after class and she said, I'd like to do some more core moves because I want to get rid of this. And she took both her hands and slapped on her midsection and then sort of jiggled it as if it was some sort of bowl of jelly and was touching her own body and saying, like, this face is almost as if there was something wrong with her midsection. And I just was like, what are you doing to how you feel and how you respect and how you honor your body?
Right.
When you're pointing at a part of it and saying, help me get rid of this. Now, if
Hmm.
she said to me, I want to have some more core strength so that I can have a stronger support for my spine. I want to build some more core strength so that, I can help pick things up in my house and,
Yeah.
not have to worry about injury. See how that's a different conversation than when she took both her hands and sort of slapped her midsection, like, I want to get rid of this.
Hmm.
Why would you want to get rid of your abdominals? I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
these are the conversations that I have, and this is the mindset shift to I have to sort of wake them up. It's sort of a
Yeah.
wake up call to say, no, 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 we don't talk about our body like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think it goes back to exactly what you said earlier. You wouldn't talk to a girlfriend that way, right?
You wouldn't reach over to your girlfriend at Starbucks and pinch an inch and say, "Oh, girl, what you got going on with this? You working on that or what?" No. But yet we look in the mirror and we do that to ourselves.
Mhm.
What do we think, when we have these internal conversations, we're never usually saying, "You're awesome. I love you. You're great. You're strong. You're capable." We're always starting from a critical moment. And this is where, whatever I'm teaching in my classes, I always shower the positivity. And it's not just to be a shiny, happy person, it's to make sure that they hear it while they're doing something positive for themselves. So
Right.
that way they make the neural connection in their brain, healthy activity, positive mindset. It goes together. If
Right.
you have a healthy activity and the whole time you're doing it, you're going, gosh, I'm not going to look at myself in the mirror. Are these shorts making my butt look huge? I can't believe I wore this tank top. My arm is jiggling. If you're thinking that the whole time you're working out, how much longer are you actually going to be working out?
Right.
Probably not. Not much longer than that. No.
Right. Right. Yeah. And another favorite is when an instructor says,
Mm.
let's do 5 more so we can earn that dessert for the weekend or to burn that dessert from the weekend off, right?
And I used to do workouts like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to have, there's a very common Halloween workout where it's like, if you ate this, then you need to do that. If you had a
Uh-huh.
Snickers, you got to do 10 burpees. I used to teach that workout.
Hmm.
But even I know, why not? If you want to have a Snickers, go ahead and enjoy it. Just know
Right.
what you're eating.
Right.
Don't equate, fitness and fueling with something that you have to do because you were bad.
Right.
All make choices, observe the choice, don't judge it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Another good one is that all or nothing
Yeah.
mindset, right?
Yep. And this is where, I've really adapted a lot of the cognitive behavioral, which is how we, cognition, how we think, behavior, how we act or react in the world.
Hmm.
That piece from my psychotherapy practice into my coaching. And it's called all or nothing or black or white thinking. It's where we only see things in one spectrum or the other. And this is
Yeah.
either like, I did a great job in that class, or I was a lazy bag of bones and I did nothing. I ate healthy all week, or I was in the drive-through, every single day. There's no middle ground. And when we go into it with an all or nothing mentality, we're more than likely just to give up
Right.
because we say, oh, we don't understand that there's a spectrum. Just the other day, so I had a client, she was contacting me and she said, Kristen, oh, I made a huge mistake. And I thought, my goodness, what did you do? I don't understand. And she said, I went to the drive-through last night at the fast food place and I got dinner at fast food. I know. And she's like, you're going to be so angry with me. And I said, I'm not angry with you. Let's observe. How did this happen? So we went back and we were able to understand how she made that decision, why she was so hungry and why she thought that was a good choice.
Yeah.
But we also looked at it from the spectrum of, okay, you made a choice for a meal on one day.
Right.
What's all the other healthy stuff you ate this week? There were so many other healthy choices that she made that she was just sort of seeing this as, well, either I'm eating 100% perfect and
Hmm.
Kristen will be happy with me, or I'm in the drive-through and I'm afraid to tell her. But
Right.
again, I understand that there's a spectrum. Just like when we started, I told you I had cereal for dinner. I was
Hmm.
standing there going, this is not a good choice, but
Yeah.
I'm tired. I justified it a million and one different ways in my mind,
Yeah.
and I still ate it.
Yeah. 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 Because it comes down to that word that we like to share with our clients, consistency, which
Mm,
means doing something more often than not.
hmm
But it's the all or nothing mindset that kind of, impedes consistency, because people don't see, well, geez, I ate, all my
Yeah.
other meals had more nutritional value, but all they see is that one drive-through. And
And
so
it also
that
relates
consistency
to
in there.
another cognitive distortion or a thought error known as disqualifying the positive. So we're going to go back to the drive-through with my client, and she was saying like, gosh, this is terrible. Like I ate this, like it's going to negate, everything. Absolutely not. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Just because you had one meal where you made a decision and you made a nutrient dense decision, all the other meals, and this was a calorie dense decision, you know what I mean? One meal is not going to ruin you because one meal isn't what got you to the place where you wanted to say, hey, I need a change.
right.
So, I say, hey, don't beat yourself up and disqualify the positive.
Hmm.
Understand that you made a lot of great choices before then, so you know that you can.
Hmm.
And you can make a lot of great choices afterwards.
Right.
We all get into the drive-through or standing up and eating a bowl of cereal for dinner for reasons. So it's a matter of just going backwards and saying, how did I get here? I know I can do it. I've done healthy choices before. How do I get back on track? Because consistency is simply that, doing it more often than not. And it's better to be consistently good rather than occasionally perfect. A
Yep.
lot of plans and programs out there push perfection. And that's not what it's about, because who can be perfect? Even
Right.
people who are Olympic athletes and in training, they get off days. You know what I mean? Don't kid yourself. Simone Biles, yep, she's training for the Olympics and she's in fantastic shape and she's going to get 112 gold medals. She's probably having a bowl of ice cream right now and just relaxing and putting her feet up because she knows that there's a balance.
Right.
That's what consistency is about, balance.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot tend to struggle, is with that balance, because we have been told that perfection is the way, right?
But perfection really isn't a place that you can sustain and maintain
No.
for a long time.
Right.
And
Right.
if you're really working with someone who's a quality health coach, they should really be letting you know that, you know what, you will be invited to that birthday party and you might
Right.
want a slice of cake. When your
Hmm.
girlfriends go out for Sunday brunch, you're going to want a mimosa. They need to talk to you about real life, because nobody wants to live in a
Hmm.
calorie restricted, over exercising, do it or else
Hmm.
type mentality, because that's just not, it's not sustainable over time. And
Hmm.
there's the 28-day this, there's a 21-day that, all these sort of quick programs.
Right.
But what happens on day 29 of the 28-day program?
Hmm.
A lot of us will say, gosh, that was so hard. I didn't get to eat any of my favorite foods. I had to work out all the time. So I'm getting a big bowl of this and I'm sitting in front of the TV and I'm not getting off for a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we just throw it all out. But really, consistency is about doing, something healthy each and every day in all of those modalities. And yes, sometimes you sleep in and you skip the workout because that's what you need. And
Hmm.
sometimes you say, you know what? I really would love, a nice bowl of ice cream. That would be delicious right now.
Right.
And sometimes we say, you know what? I'm not going to the gym, but I'm going to walk my dog and that'll make me feel better.
Right.
Okay, that's great. Good
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah. It's about finding that balance, right? And that's where we will find the consistency, right?
And also, it comes another one that I was thinking about when it comes to those cognitive distortions. It really has to do with, sometimes we've been doing something the same way for so long that we get stuck.
Yeah.
And we think, if I do this, and this is exactly what's going to happen. Like, I hate Zumba. That, I did it once and it helped me lose 10 pounds, but, I just don't like it anymore. Or my gym's too crowded. I can never find a spot in the parking lot. I don't want to go to that gym.
Hmm.
Or, I lost, X number of pounds before, but, then I ended up gaining it all back. So that's just going to happen again. We jump to these conclusions because we think, that life is all about patterns. But just in the same way that you established that pattern before, could you break it and maybe create another healthy pattern? And what worked for us in our 20s and 30s doesn't really work so well anymore. And a lot of the women that I come to, they say, gosh, I'm restricting the calories, I'm doubling up on my workouts, and I'm gaining 3 pounds at the end of the week. What is going on?
Yep.
It's really a matter of understanding that things are a little bit different. So we can't jump to that conclusion that what worked before is 100% what's going to work now. We need to adapt. We need to change, because that is how our body is functioning. And there's nothing wrong with learning some new skills, learning a little bit more about your body and how it functions
Hmm.
so that you can integrate some real life skills.
Right. Right. Yeah. And earlier, I know you meant we touched on this, the hamster wheel, right? And that's how many women feel during midlife, is they feel like they're on this hamster wheel and they can't get off.
Yep. And who can blame them?
Right.
Because, they grew up in the mentality of eat less, exercise more. What worked for your sister-in-law's hairdresser's, dog walker's girlfriend will definitely work for you. And we all, where's the reputable information that actually works?
Yeah.
My recommendation is twofold. One, find someone who actually has some training, talk to them, ask them, get to know them a little bit. And number two, find someone who might look a little bit more like you. Not to say that I wouldn't train with a woman who's half my age, but at the same time, for example, I was in a Pilates class, and the woman, I'm old enough to be her mom. She teaches a great class, but some of her cueing is irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
Like she says, all right, zip up your midsection as if you're putting on your tightest pair of jeans to head out to the club.
Oh,
Jen, honey, I haven't head out to the club, and it's been a while.
okay.
Okay. And if the jeans don't fit, then I go to the yoga pants, and that's
And they're not in the closet.
that's
They
how
don't
we
belong in
roll.
there.
So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that cue just was not relevant to me. That's not to say that she isn't teaching a great class,
Right.
but that's not someone I think who really gets my vibe. So if you want to work with someone, make sure you have that conversation with them. Don't click and buy from a website.
Right.
Don't just go scrolling and say, well, that looks good, or my hairdresser said that worked for her, so it's probably going to work for me. Go ahead and actually talk to that person and see, do they get it? Do
Right.
they understand what it's like to open up the closet and go, I don't know what's going to fit in here today?
Yeah. Um, could you tell us just a little bit more about what programs that you offer to women?
I think the two main programs that are the most popular one is a one-on-one program, and that allows women to work with me directly over a course of 9 weeks. And we gradually build in psychology, nutrition, and fitness, and it gets gradually more challenging as we go through. But with that one-on-one guidance, it
Yeah.
really can help. And then I have some women who are a little bit more self-starters, maybe just want to, dip their toe into the health coaching pool. That's a 6-week program, fully virtual, that they can do to focus on their nutrition or their movement. And that's more for women who are not quite sure what health coaching is. Maybe they just want to refresh some of their skills. And that one, they do each and every week over the course of 6 weeks instead of 9.
Yeah.
So I find that, if women aren't quite sure which is the right choice for them, they should probably just, hop on a quick call with me, see what
Right.
makes the most sense for them. Because it's important to me that they make a good choice, one that challenges them, but one that keeps them in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And where can our listeners find more information on you, Kristen?
They can head right to the website. Oh, wrong hand. This way. Right to refinefromwithin.com.
Okay.
And they can check out all the programming there and just see where could be a good fit for them. And if they want to reach out, they can always connect through the website.
Okay, perfect. Well, Kristen, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today on the Fit News Podcast.
Awesome. Thanks so much. It's been a lot of fun. And this is such a great resource that you are sharing with all of your clients and all of your listeners. So you are doing a great job.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for listening to the Fit News Podcast. We will catch you next time.